Yes. I think we're on YouTube.
Let's see. Yes, I think now it looks like it's live streaming to YouTube. That would have been easy. It was a very hidden feature, but it would have been easy.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna spy. Let's see. Ajala Digital. Let's see. This is what I'm seeing.
Oh, it's live. Yes. I think it's live. Live.
Ajala Digital.
It's totally live. It's working. Oh my God, I figured it out.
Good job. Yeah.
Okay.
Teamwork.
Don't show everybody your emails.
Whoops.
Stop sharing.
Guys,
Bottom.
you're not supposed to see that.
Yeah.
Inbox me with deals if you want,
Huh?
I said, inbox me with deals if you want,
Yeah. Send all those. Let's see. I'm gonna. Oh, there it is. Okay, cool.
Okay, so I want you to let's get your camera up, or let's point your camera down so that we kind of. There we go. There we are. How are you? Good to see you.
I'm good. How are you? It's been a day of troubleshooting, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been kind of a weird day. It's very nice to see you though. How was India?
It was good. It was interesting. India is always interesting. Like it never fails to fascinate me from so many different angles and aspects. I mean, that country is there's so much. It just not is one thing. Like it is a lot of things. And almost like with China, I just encourage people to go there and see it for themselves. The food is obviously amazing. Yeah. The business opportunities are incredible. It's just that you got to go with the masses still. Yeah. I think you're going to find a lot of similarities between South Africa and India in terms of how people behave.
Wow.
So, okay. Yeah.
They also have people that don't want to pay for anything over there as well.
Yeah. I learned a fascinating thing about the culture when I was scheduling the ride back to the airport from the hotel. I asked the hotel to have the same drive as I had, the one who picked me up, because he was nice and everything. And it helps people there when you request them, like, it's good for their jobs. And so I got into the car. He was there. He helped me with the luggage and everything. And we started driving. And he was like, oh, so my manager asked me to like drive you because like everybody else was scared of you. And I was like, wait, what? Like, I've never heard this in my life, right? I was like, what do you mean? It's like, yeah. He told me to like treat you very carefully and just make sure, like everything is correct and whatever, like even with everybody else in the hotel, because they thought I was attending this wedding where they'd spent so much money on it, right? So they thought I was like a
billionaire's wedding. Maria also thought you were there. You know that. Maria's like, oh, this is the wedding that Pam went to. And I was
half of my family thought that was there, right? They asked me about it. It was like, oh, did you see that guy? And, they call them different names.
The Kardashians and all of them.
And I was like, oh my God, it's interesting. If your closest people already make up a story, you can imagine now what stories other people make up about you. So it's fascinating.
That's wild how that is. Yeah. I will say this though. I'm very curious as to what does the Google Ads scene look like in India? What is that like?
Yes. Let me tell you. So I had some meetings, some meetups with people who are doing Google Ads, and I saw some of their accounts. Obviously, I'm not going to say who it is. The money is there. People are willing to spend. The knowledge is like everywhere else in the world. It's not any way different. People are also confused about recommendation scores. People are confused about automatically created assets. People need the same help with landing pages. It's just that their willingness to pay for services is not yet there. It's almost like, I can do it myself. I can figure it out myself. Why would I pay for somebody? Or I can just pay somebody 500 rupees a month, which is nothing, or like, I don't know, more than
Yeah.
that. But still very little. And then they expect that that person knows a lot, which then they obviously don't. So I think it's still, that learning, like, look, you know what I pay for is typically what I get. Um, the challenge is like everywhere.
That's
It's
interesting.
yeah. The more countries I see, the more I notice like people having the same conversations everywhere.
It's crazy, right? To go to a whole different place with a whole different culture, a whole different language, but still the problems are consistent.
Same landing pages, tracking, conversions, all of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have some questions for you
Yeah,
if you're
yeah,
willing
sure.
to
You're more
respond.
than welcome. You're more than welcome to shoot. I've got my little banner ticker here at the bottom, so if anybody joins us, they can just ask a question.
Awesome. Yes. Oh yeah,
I'll
your
also be
banner
interested
is
to know before we
amazing.
get started. Before we get started, I'll also be interested to know that once we save this live stream, let me know if this live stream is gonna save on your YouTube as one of your videos as well. So let me know that as well.
We'll
Be
do.
very
We'll do.
interesting.
So let me go to my
For those of you who don't know, we'd like to welcome you to the live stream. I'm currently in the process of revamping everything and like figuring out how I'm going to lay out my content. But I think this live stream is good just to kick off the end of the month because I haven't really produced much content. And myself and Pamela, we've been Google Ads consultants now for a couple of years. And if you want to ask us anything about your ads or you're having problems or maybe your ads aren't converting, let us know down below in the comment section as well. You're more than welcome to ask us anything you want at all, as long as you tell us what country you're from and also give us some context. Like, don't just send us a message that says, I'm not selling or my ads aren't converting. Like, kind of give us some context so that we can answer you in a professional, intellectual, and actionable way. All right.
awesome. That was a good. How'd you call that? Gosh, I'm in lack of words.
Let's just
Interlude.
say it's a good intro.
Good interlude. So I'm going to ask you the world's most burning questions about Google Ads of
Lovely.
the last 7 days. So, what determines whether a search ad shows in the results, the search engine results page, and where it's going to show up, like in what rank or in what position?
All right, cool. So there's a couple of factors with this, but basically what Google does is it ranks every single ad, and that's what's called the ad rank, right? So there are so many factors that go into this, but the most important thing that you need to understand is you need to have a very good click-through rate. In other words, if somebody's searching for ice cream and you have an ad and your ad is not talking about ice cream at all, you're talking about chocolate brownies, guess what? People aren't going to click on your ad and therefore your ad's not going to rank very well. Also, if you're sending them to a landing page and that experience on that landing page isn't good, when I say landing page, I just mean a page on your website. After they click on the ad, the immediate page you send them to, if that landing page isn't good, it gets a poor score and it drops your ad rank. And most importantly, it also is highly dependent on how much you're willing to pay for your click. So let's say there's three businesses. One business is only willing to pay $5 for the click. The other business is willing to pay $200 for the click. Google factors that in. It's not the only factor, but it is a very big determining factor on where you end up on the page. And your goal as a business owner is always to try and get into the top 4 search results. This is what I recommend to all of my consulting clients is even if we can't afford that top spot, we want to make sure that our ads are so good that we are at least in the top 4 search results because that's usually where the action takers are, right? Nobody's going to go to page 6 of Google to click on your ad. So that's an unrealistic expectation. And this helps you rank your ad. Pam, anything you want to add to that?
I think that was a pretty good explanation. The one example I tend to give people in terms of like the keywords and matching that with the search queries is, let's say you're a dentist and people are looking for um, dental emergency dentist, right? Like emergency dentist near me. That's a pretty sure keyword that people are going to take action. But if people are just typing in dentist reviews, then they might not yet be ready to call you, right? So you got to be clear, how far ahead do I want people to be in their decision process? And at what point in their like customer journey am I catching them? And what am I willing to spend money for? Like sometimes you'd be okay with spending money on, getting people when they're just looking for reviews, and sometimes not, right? So just be clear about that.
Yeah, 100%.
So you know what's funny? Most of the questions that people ask are part of the Google Ads certificate. Um,
It's a
so
whole curriculum just going question by question by
it
question.
literally is that, yeah. Um, Google is so funny. Oh my god. So I literally like look at the top like rising queries. Google is getting more and more messed up. Like I could be the only one who's like weirded out about this. Like I type in Google Ads and I kid you not, it gives me results about giving people CPR.
You're joking. You're
No, I
joking.
literally downloaded the support and it's like, and that's what it's sending to me for like related queries. Um,
That's that's an
okay.
interesting conversation that I wanna have with you towards the end of this video is how search is changing. Because I think a lot of people are starting to notice that the product, the actual search query themselves, it's starting to be so bad that you kind of have to be an expert just to find what you're looking for in Google. Like, and it's not that obvious anymore. But we'll save that towards the end.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you mentioned one thing already, like, the search query. So when should people use broad match? When is broad match a good option for me, or should I just never use it?
I want you to think about phrase match, broad match, and exact match as tools, right? So, for example, if you try and use a hammer with a nail, it's going to work. But if you try and use a hammer to tighten a screw, it's probably not going to work that well. The problem that I have is most social media gurus and most online forums, and you'll see this on LinkedIn as well, is we kind of villainize broad match and say you should never ever use broad match. Broad match can be extremely effective in two scenarios. Scenario number one would be just discovering what your ideal client is actually searching. A lot of business owners think that they know exactly what their clients are searching. But sometimes when we look at the search results, it can be something that's the complete opposite, right? So, to give you an example, you might be an electrician and you would think that somebody would type in, oh, I need an emergency electrician or emergency electrician near me. So, those are good keywords. I'm not saying they're bad keywords, but you could also be missing out on people who are searching maybe electrical repair for warehouse, or I need to rewire the plugs in my home, or my electricity shuts off. And what Broadmatch does is it allows you through the search terms report to actually see, oh, my ideal clients, they might actually be interested in these different things. And you can turn those into good keywords for yourself as well. Another thing about broad match that people get wrong is broad match is going to be your cheapest keyword match type to use. And sometimes, if you use it effectively, like I have broad match keywords, I've got some broad match keywords that are doing 66% conversion rates in my Google Ads account. Why? Because if you write your ad properly, if your landing page is good, it'll dissuade the wrong type of people from clicking your ad, and it will make the right type of person click on your ad. So it's not just like, oh, I'm just going to switch my keyword match type and all of a sudden money will just start popping out of the computer and I'll need to go grab a bag to, take all of these dollar bill signs, right? Every single match type is good for a certain thing. What I find most of the time is broad match tends to burn through a lot of people's accounts, and then when we really get into it, when we dive into the data, we start finding all of these other things that are not broad match's fault at all. But let's say you're brand new and let's say you have never used Google Ads before and you just want a good starting type of match type, I would either go for phrase or exact, purely because you want to show up for the terms that people are searching for. Look, a lot of people still do not have the best websites, they don't have the best ad copy, they don't even know if their offer converts or not. So we don't want to throw too much variables into the mix. So if you're brand new and you're just starting out, phrase match or exact match. In most cases, I would highly recommend phrase match because it gives you the best of both worlds. Now, we need to talk a little bit about exact match. A lot of people go straight for exact match. And what happens is they call me, they pay me $350. I log into their account, and then they tell me, oh, I'm not getting any clicks, I'm not getting any impressions, nothing's happening. And when I go and look at their exact match keywords, I'm like, yeah, of course, because you're putting your business name in as an exact match keyword. Nobody's going to search for your business. Nobody's going to search for the term exactly how you want it. So you're just basically spiting yourself because exact match is not the answer. Pam, I know you want to come in at this point.
No, it's okay. I think you said that very well. There's just this one category in my head that's like, I think it's called, but how can you not see this?
Yeah.
So I think that's what I categorize this under. But it's okay.
Painfully,
So
painfully obvious.
if you're not getting traffic, first thing is to check your keywords, right? And the second thing to check if you're not getting traffic is your bids. If you're using manual bidding, right? Like, are you starting off with a way too low bid? Like oftentimes people would start off with just a low bid without knowing what the keyword cost, what a bid is. And I'm like, leave out the bid from the beginning. Like, just start off with no limit for now. And then you can see it. And even if your max CPC or your average cost per click is somewhere at like 10, 15, 20 bucks, you can always reduce it later. And trust me, you're still going to get traffic, right?
Yeah.
But Google just wants you to spend money. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
this is
think I agree with you 100%, but I think we need to have a broader conversation. The broader conversation is this: your settings are not going to get the client. You are going to get the client, right? Your settings are not going to do it for you. Back in the days, you could pop in, it's 2014, it's 2016, nobody else is using Google Ads. You go, phrase match, exact match, you set it up that way. You get yourself a maximize conversions bidding strategy, or I think it was at the time, was it maximize conversions? Yeah, it was maximize conversions bidding strategy. And you could just not pay attention to your Google Ads, come back, and in a week's time, you'd have a couple of leads in your inbox. That is not the world that we live in right now. And it's important not only to run your Google Ads, but actually understand the data behind the ads, what the ads are doing.
Yeah, and this is like understanding the data. I think this is where most people get it wrong these days because they're so confused about it. They don't know anymore which insights are really true. Even with PMax, most people say, "Hey, I have no audience insights." Like, I looked into this. He's not a client. He's an acquaintance. Acquaintance's ad account, and his cost per conversion was actually pretty good, like $5 for whatever they're doing. In a PMax campaign, he was like, I feel like it's working, but I also don't know if it's working. And I was like, okay, let's go to the PMax campaign. Let's look into the search terms. And I think 80% of the traffic was brand terms.
80%.
So 80%.
So I just want to, for those of you watching this and they don't understand what branded terms are and they're wondering like, why is this a bad thing? Like, could you just dive a little bit deeper into what is a branded term?
So it's pretty much your brand that Google is using to get clicks for you. So if your company is called the ABC School, then you would see under search terms ABC School, right? And you can work with the brand exclusion list here on a campaign level or on an account level, so that helps. And typically, then his follow up question was also about like, so when do I know when I should actually bid on my brand, especially if like our SEO is good? And I always tell people, look, if nobody else is advertising for what you're doing, then don't, right? But if you have at least like 2, 3 competitors that are advertising and spending money on Google, then your organic results just go down like 4, 5, sometimes 6 positions because of the additional boxes that you have. And then you should advertise, but then maybe not use a performance max campaign or work with exclusions so that your money is properly spent on either acquiring new people or you have a pretty good split up between like remarketing and cold audiences. And most people end up mixing those audiences where I'm like, of course this isn't working. So yeah, just make sure in your campaigns you do not mix, please do not mix cold audiences and remarketing audiences. Like have a separate campaign for people who don't know you and have a separate campaign for people who are already familiar with your company.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, what is the point of advertising if somebody already knows your business name and that person was going to buy for you anyway? Like if I had a company called Devon's Biscuits and somebody went to Google and searched for Devon's Biscuits, I do not need to advertise on Devon's Biscuits because that company was already going to give me money, or that person was already going to give me money for my biscuits. So there's absolutely no point in advertising on branded terms. What Google is trying to do is they are trying to pretend like they're doing something to help you when in actual fact they're giving you what you would have had for free anyway. So you gotta watch out for those. And also when we say performance max campaign, some people might say performance what? Performance who? What performance max? What is performance max? I usually tell people if you can't remember how you set up your Google Ads, if you know that you just went through the onboarding sequence, maybe in the last year, year and a half, and you just set up your ads and your ads are running, but you didn't actually kind of understand what you were doing, chances are you've got a performance max ad. The reason why we discourage against using these performance max ads is in some campaigns they can be very good and we found them to be effective, but what we find is they are completely a black box. We can't see what's happening with the data, so we can't understand where your ads are showing. And it's kind of like me telling you, oh, please give me $10,000, and then the next month I come back and I'm like, please give me another $10,000. And you're telling me, well, Devon, what did you do with the $10,000 I gave you last month? Oh, no, I spent it on advertising. Well, what ads? Where? I can't tell you that. That's privileged information. That's exactly what a performance max is. You're paying Google ads to disappear with your money and not tell you where that money is being spent. Did they spend it advertising to a whole bunch of 14-year-olds on their iPhones playing Fortnite? We don't know. Did they spend it to a whole bunch of people in another country where we don't even know if they have the affordability to be able to buy your luxury watches or buy your consulting services? We don't know that. This is why we discourage against performance max, because you're only going to get better at advertising if you can see what is happening to your money.
Yeah, plus it's always gonna prioritize PMax. So even if you have like a PMax in the search campaign, a PMax in the shopping campaign, Google is first gonna use your PMax campaign before it lets your like search, shopping, and whatever show. So it has that automated prioritization, which also means it automatically gives it more of the conversions than, or assigns it more of the conversions than it might actually be eligible for. And then I also have like conversations with people that are like, oh, but like I'm not doing display at all. I'm just using search and PMax. I'm like, but you do realize that PMax has display in it and YouTube and other things, right? So it just
It's like saying I'm not eating cheese, I'm just eating pizza slices. Well, there's there's cheese in the pizza slice. Doesn't matter.
yeah.
No, but it's just a pizza slice. No, I guarantee you that somewhere on that pizza slice there's gonna be some cheese, right?
And
It
if you're
doesn't matter
allergic to
what.
cheese, you shouldn't eat it.
Exactly. It doesn't matter what flavor of pizza you choose. There's probably going to be some cheese in the mix. So think about Performance Max like a pizza slice of different ads inside it.
Yeah, or if you want a healthier option, a salad.
There we go.
Okay. So if somebody is now at the point where they're like, I'm getting sales on my Google ads. I've been running ads for quite a couple of years, but I'm at the point where I'm not knowing if I'm getting sales that I wouldn't have gotten anyway, that I would have gotten anyway somewhere else. Like, what do I do?
That is actually a very good question. Um, I think first of all, it's important to understand the ecosystem of how ads work. I think a lot of people don't get this. There are people that don't know you exist. There are people that do know you exist, but they need a nudge for them to buy. And there are people that are gonna buy anyway, right? So what I would recommend you do is you want to measure as much as possible. It's only through measuring that we can understand what those traffic sources are. So I can preach to you all day long about doing this or doing that, but in 99% of the cases when I speak to business owners, they actually don't know where their website traffic is coming from. Why? Because you're running a little Facebook ad that you forgot about 6 months ago. You've got a guy who's doing your TikTok thingy for you. You don't know what he's doing, but supposedly it's generating traffic for you. You've got a social media manager on Instagram that's busy running around taking photos of your business, but you don't have the full picture of how all of this comes together, right? So number one, before we even go into the discussion of what you should do and what you shouldn't do, or what you should stop or what you should do, is we need a holistic picture of what's happening in your business. And the only way to do that is to set up your tracking and your analytics, right? So the tracking is going to tell us which of the traffic is coming from the ads, and the analytics is going to tell us what's coming from the organic, what's coming from your Facebook, what's coming from your TikTok. I had a business owner I spoke to 2 days ago who actually he kept on getting leads off of his old website. And he thought that, oh man, like something's wrong. Like, why am I still getting leads to my old website? Is there maybe an ad that's running that I don't know about, that I forgot about? So what I did was I quickly pulled up his Google Analytics for him, which he didn't know he had, by the way. And I showed him that, oh, you got 556 clicks, and they actually came from organic search. Like, this is not costing you any money. It's just because your old website was around for so long, people are still searching that domain and it's still popping up. So those leads are basically coming to you free of charge. So Pam, I'd love to answer that question, but from my point of view, I'm not even going to touch that hornet's nest, because we got to talk about tracking and analytics first before we talk about what you should switch off and what you shouldn't switch off.
Yeah, and for quite a while, I said, you know what, you don't need tracking parameters within ads, but we started using them again because it's just you need that additional support to make sure your ads are being tracked correctly and you're getting other data that's a little bit more unbiased. So in your Google Ads, like, use UTM parameters. Go to the Google UTL URL builder and just set those up, and you're going to get probably much better data in analytics as well. Yeah, I'm not sure if we should talk about like Google's attribution now,
No,
but
I think that's too high level. And also, I'm going
yeah.
to say this: if you're a small business owner, right? So, Pam, I'm going to pose this question to you. I'm a small business owner. I'm only spending $20, $30 on Google Ads per day. Why does tracking matter? I mean, I've got my Shopify. I can tell if I'm making money or not. I've got my website. I can see if I'm getting leads or not. Why would I invest all of this time, energy, and effort into tracking when I'm not spending that much? Isn't this for $1 million companies? Isn't this for Fortune 500 companies? Like, why should I care about tracking?
So I think, first of all, tracking doesn't have to cost you a lot of time, right? You can literally right now Google campaign URL builder. You're going to get to the website, put in your URL, your details. Takes you 5-10 minutes, and then you implement it in your ads. You add it as a URL to your ads. So, and the thing is, yes, you see it in Shopify, but if you use multiple ad platforms or even multiple traffic platforms, that's social, that's email, that's organic, and so on, every one of these platforms will want to make it seem as if they own the largest share of the traffic, right? It's a little bit in the nature of these tools. And if you use ads, then it's even stronger, right? Because of course, Meta wants to say, we gave you the most purchases. And TikTok wants to say, no, we gave you most of the purchases, right? So it's good to have like an additional level to that where you can see for yourself, hey, did these purchases really originate in TikTok or not, right? And so a lot of times, like, but some of our clients do this. They ask their customers, "Hey, how did you find us?" And people would say Google, Facebook, and so on. And I'm like, people don't know where they found you. First of all, 50% of our memory is screwed anyway, right? We tend to forget things. We're human beings. And secondly, people are overwhelmed by too much information. So they might see your display ad subconsciously while reading a news site, and then later on they scroll through the Facebook feed, maybe in the evening, they're watching a movie, and suddenly they see an ad about this beautiful lamp that projects stars on the top of your ceiling, right? So, and then they're like, oh, I found this on Facebook. No, you saw it a day ago on display, right? But now you were in the right moment where where everything matched, where the ad matched the user intent, the user feelings, the goals, everything, right? So you can ask people, but the information is going to be flawed, right? And I think, yeah, it's just this additional tool of security. That's what I would say. And you don't need to invest in a lot of like third-party tracking apps. Like there's a lot of these platforms now, and quite some people resort to them as like a last solution because they feel like I'm not getting the right data from Google or Meta. So like, let me use a third-party tool. But if we think this through, if Google and Meta are already not giving you the right data, why would a third-party tool then be able to give you the right data?
Where are they getting it from?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like that don't make no sense.
that don't make
Um,
no sense whatsoever. And also, sorry, Pam, I just want to touch on
okay.
one more thing. I had a client, and the client came to me and she said to me, Devin, I'm getting bad leads. I'm getting a lot of people that like want jobs. Like I'm getting a lot of job applications. I have bad leads. And she's got like 6 campaigns running. So I'm like, okay, cool. Next time you get a bad lead, I want you to notice like where's it's coming from. And she's like, no, but I feel like my leads are just getting worse. And I think us as business owners, we're very instinctual, right? You start a business based on your instincts. You negotiate deals based on your instincts. You're buying and selling stock based on your instincts. And sometimes there's things that feel right and don't feel right. And that's basically how we operate as business owners. But what you want to do is you want to add some intelligence and some data to those instincts. I'm not saying your instincts are wrong, but you want to add some data to it. So in her case, I asked her, would you mind going to look at your ads because you've got conversion tracking set up and notice which ads the bad leads are coming from? She came back to me the next day and she said, okay, I know which one it is now. It's the Performance Max ad that's actually giving me this. So now I can say, fantastic. Why? Because she gets 4 leads. Google Ads shows that she got 4 leads. She notices that all 4 leads are job applications. Now we can single it down to, oh, this is the thing that's costing you money. And if you're a small business owner on a small budget and you know money's tight and you need to make every cent count, why would you not implement tracking? Why would you not do that? Why would you not know where your money is going? You know what I'm saying? So this is why this is important, because we want you to figure out where the good leads are coming from, where the bad leads are coming from, so that we can do more of what works and cut out what doesn't work, right?
Yep. Yep. That's pretty much the goal of it. Like what I always tell people is if you can't tell me how much you spent last month in Google Ads and how much you made from it within the next 5 to 10 seconds, or within finding it within a few seconds, then you need to work on it. Like you need to know where your money goes, and if you don't, then whoever you're working with, you need to ask them, tell them. Like it's almost as if when you're talking with your tax lawyer or your accountant, if they come back to you and say, "Oh, I don't know yet," it's like, what? No, how much did I make last month? And they're like,
What am I paying you
I don't
for?
know. I don't think you're going to work long with that person,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So,
I think in marketing, this is how it's kind of like wealth management. Have you ever seen these wealth management firms that kind of they're
friends
telling
that
you that
do that.
okay, we're investing your money in these highly lucrative investments, which means um, they are sure bets. They are going to get you a guaranteed return on your investment, which means look for the numbers. Numbers don't
Yep.
lie, people lie.
All right, it's getting a little bit. I have to adjust my fan. Okay, it's hot here. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to know where your money goes, and if you don't, just ask. Like, I think a lot of times, honestly, I think people don't ask because they're afraid. They're afraid to see that something isn't working. They're afraid to know that they have been throwing out their money. They're afraid to take responsibility. But I'm like, the moment you know, it's so empowering because you can finally change something. Like, I think we just create stories around like not knowing that then prevent us from really progressing.
Yeah.
um but it's just honestly, as a business owner, like this is your job, finding solutions to problems.
I
And
was
if you
literally
don't
going to say that. I was
and
literally
if you
going to
don't
say that.
enjoy that, then you need to get a job, like do something different. But
And look,
yeah.
you don't need to know how the pizza is made. You just
Correct.
need to know what a good pizza tastes like,
Yeah.
right? You don't need to know everything about marketing. We're not trying to give you more homeworks and we're not trying to give you a marketing degree. But if you can't give us, like Pam said, it's a very simple answer. How much did you spend on marketing and how much did you get back? If
Yeah.
you can't answer that, just think about it in football terms. If you know you own a football club and you don't know how much I spent on the football club and how much the football club actually made me, how do you know if you're not bankrupt already?
Yeah.
It's the same thing with advertising and marketing. You don't want to just be spending money and going on feelings in your gut. You want some data to back up what you feel inside.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I agree. um Now Google is telling us to use more automation, to apply all these automated suggestions. What should we do?
Run away.
But we just told them to look closer.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about Google's automation. I had a nice conversation with one of my students yesterday in my private community. And she came to me and she said she was getting an error. And the error said that exact match keywords were blocking her ads from showing, right? And Google recommended that she switched over to broad match. This is the automatic recommendation. It's a type of recommendations that you'll see all the time from Google Ads. There's always an alert. It's always telling you that you can do this a little bit better if you just slightly tweak your settings, or if you just slightly give them permission to just, go in there and handle all of the tough stuff for you. So here's the thing. There are two businesses at play here. There is what's good for Google's business, right? What's good for their bank account, and there's what's good for your bank account, right? Most of the time when you're getting these automatic recommendations or these auto applied settings, you have to stand back and ask yourself, is there a valid reason why I should apply this? So for example, if your ads are too expensive or your leads are too expensive, and Google is telling you that if you implement this recommended setting, that you all of a sudden you'll start getting more leads, you have to ask yourself, well, is this realistic? Like, if Google tells me I should raise my budget so that I can get more clicks, what happens to the 6,000 clicks that I'm getting per month that are not getting me any leads? Why would I raise my budget? It doesn't make sense. If I've already got 6,000 of these things and I'm not getting any leads, why would I go and get another 10,000 or 12,000? It doesn't make any sense. And here we have to apply some common sense. It's very hard because in the modern world, we want the AI to do the hard stuff, chat GTP. We want the AI to make the ad for us. We want the computer to do everything for us. And we just want to sit back, and when the client comes, we'll deal with them. We'll do the fun stuff. Doesn't
I
work
see
that way.
I see so many ads for people like saying, "Oh, here's how to use AI to build you Google Ads." And I'm like, "Okay, that's great, but so far I haven't seen any ad yet that was better with AI than or campaign that would we did when an actual human being looked into it, right?" And yes, you can create your headlines and descriptions with AI, but like again, still look over it, like still refine it. Um, we've actually put together a guide for all the recommendations, and turns out there's over 100 recommendations that Google has by now. And so
What?
60, we came to 16 pages. I kid you not. It's over 100 different recommendations that Google has.
Do you have a link for
Um,
the guide that we can put in the chat? Because it's amazing.
It's almost ready. It's almost
Okay.
ready.
All
So we're
right.
building the landing page right now, but it's almost done. But yeah, I was like, I'm gonna put this together because most people's campaigns are even they're like somewhere around like 60 to 70% when I look into their accounts. And I'm like, you have to make sure it's somewhere close to 100, if not 100, because if it's not at 100, Google thinks the campaign is not well performing. And so a lot of times people think, oh, but like, okay, so I have these recommendations that I kind of know are not good for me, but what do I do with them? Like, because they're there and they're not going away. And then, sometimes Google randomly raises your budget if you accept them. And then like a week later, you look into your account and you wonder, why am I spending suddenly 25% more? Right.
Yeah.
I think with like target CPA, that's a common thing when it recommends to use target CPA and it automatically adjusts your budget as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was like, we got to 16 pages.
That's crazy. And here's the thing, going back to the story of the lady I was speaking to, Google was telling her that her exact match keywords were blocking her ads from showing, were stopping her ads from showing completely. She's panicking about this. And I said to her, okay, are you getting impressions on your ads? She says, yes. Like, are you getting clicks on your ads? She's like, yeah. Are you getting leads with your ads? Yeah, I got 4 leads today. So we can deduce that if these things are blocking your ads from showing and people are clicking on your ads, then guess what? Maybe Google is just trying to upsell you on something that you don't really need,
Mhm.
right? We've all been to that situation. You go to McDonald's, you want the cheeseburger. They say, do you want to add an extra slice of cheese? Yeah, I'd like an extra slice of cheese. All right, would you like to add bacon to your order? You're like, okay, I'll add the bacon. Okay, do you have sauce? They're not going to stop until you're obese, okay? They are not going to stop, right? This is the job of a salesperson, is to sell to you, right? And he's only going to stop selling to you when you say, no, that's enough, thank you, I'm happy with my order. The
Mhm.
job of the recommendation has been perverted from being something that is helpful to you. This is like an expert would give you a recommendation that would be good for you. What they've done is they've perverted that, and they basically, the word that you want to use is take the word recommendation and swap it with upsell. That's what they are. And
Yeah.
you've got 16 pages of upsells now where they are trying to sell you different settings in different ways, right?
Yeah.
That's the way you want to think about it.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy. Okay. I think we had some good stuff there today.
Yeah, I think we have a ton of good stuff. The last thing I want to ask you, Pam, is, and I wrote this down. How do you think Google is changing, and what do you think it means for advertisers? And specifically, I'm talking about like what you mentioned before, whereby people are searching, but the search results just ain't matching no more. Are
Mhm.
they trying to show ads everywhere, or what is the thing? What are they trying to do with this new direction that they're going in?
I think in the last 2, 3 years, Google has let go some of their best people that took care of the quality. And that was done in a rush to somehow save cost, even though Google never would have had to. Um, Outsource things and outsource them to people, especially that don't have that thinking capacity anymore that the other engineers used to have.
Yeah.
So people are like, oh, let's just automate this with AI and pretty much let's see what happens. And as long as it works for Google, which means they're making money, they're going to keep doing it, right? So I would say it's not yet reached its breaking point because other search engines still have to catch up in terms of like search results quality and all of that. But I think it just goes to show again, yes, you can use AI and machine learning and all of that, but it just needs that human eye. It just needs that human way of thinking. It needs your input. And you just can't automate everything in your life. It's not possible. And I'm pretty happy it's that way. I'm pretty happy. Um, so it, I think, and it also shows it's a never-ending learning experience. Like whatever works for you in Google Ads this year is not what's going to work next year. You always have to adapt your strategy ongoing. So it's not like you set up once your campaign and then it just runs on its own, right?
Yeah.
I recently had this conversation with a fairly big tax lawyer company,
Yep.
and they were saying, "Oh, we want to test like Google Ads for like 4 to 6 weeks with like this kind of budget." And I was like, "Yeah, but that doesn't make any sense. You're not going to be able to test anything from like that time frame. You're going to see some data, you're going to see some traffic, but you're not going to have time to optimize everything that's possible, right?" So, yeah, very long answer.
Yeah. I agree with you 100%. And you have to understand something. When they introduced, when we went from the horse to the car, there was a transition period, right?
Yeah.
And the problem right now is a whole lot of people are ditching perfectly fine horses to go into cars when the cars are still breaking down. They are not functioning as intended. They still
Mhm,
catching fire and everything like that. And we want the transition to happen so bad because of our natural built-in laziness. Like, I want the
mhm,
transition to happen. Why wouldn't anyone want that? Why wouldn't you want to
mhm,
set up your ad, put in $100 per day budget, get some leads, close the leads, make money, plan your next holiday? Everybody would love that type of stuff. But
mhm,
we have to remember something: marketing is hard.
mhm,
It's one of the most difficult things to do, even as a human being who is in marketing right now. Marketing your own business, finding out what's unique about you, and getting the right types of clients, it is super hard. And to think that we're just going to get some AI to just spit up a whole bunch of words and just make up a whole bunch of things, and all of a sudden we'll just attract the right clients like this. No, because nuance matters. It
mhm,
matters. It takes 50 years to build a brand like Nike. It doesn't happen
mhm.
overnight, right?
Yeah.
It takes 20 years to build a brand like Rolex. It doesn't happen overnight.
Mhm.
And for you to think AI is going to do it in 3 days for your business, it's just an unrealistic expectation.
Yep. So, big disclaimer, we are not going to tell you how to make a million tomorrow.
Sorry. We will roast your landing page though. So if you
We'll do
want us
that
to roast your
tomorrow.
landing page, comment down below, give us the URL, tell us a little bit about your website and your business, and we'll gladly roast your landing page. But we're not going to teach you how to make $1 million tomorrow. Sorry.
Sorry, not sorry. This is great. Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
this was so much fun. All right, cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end the stream. Let me just see here. I hope it doesn't cut us off, but let me just try.